New witness is expected to take the stand today when the Senzo Meyiwa trial continues. Yesterday, the state witness, Sergeant Thabo Mosia, ended his testimony, conceding that the crime scene may have been compromised. Our reporter, Mnisi, joining us live now from inside the court, in fact, Pretoria High Court. That is. Linda, good morning to you. Let's begin with that concession from Sergeant Thabo Mosia. I would have thought that throughout his testimony he would have defended how he, I suppose, handled the scene, because these questions came to him in a flurry, in huge volumes from the people that were questioning him, the defense lawyers, basically. How does he then tell reporters outside that he himself was not comfortable with how that scene was handled?
In fact, that came at the backdrop of him conceding in this very same court, in that witness box that you see over there, that the crime scene, in fact, was not handled properly. And when he calculates the time that it took for him to get to the scene, it brought or prompted a number of questions in his mind, because this was about 4 hours after Meyiwa had been shot that he got the call to come and collect some forensic evidence. According to his evidence, he said that Brigadier Ndlovu was quite critical in showing him the exhibits and what to collect in that scene. This is the person he claims welcomed him at the scene, and when he left the crime scene at the hands of Brigadier Ndlovu. During re-examination, you'll remember the state would usually use re-examination after cross-examination to kind of clarify some of the issues that may have been raised during cross-examination. And this is an opportunity really to clarify the issues. And what he said was that he was not forced to make that statement that the crime scene was compromised given the time, or could have been compromised given the time that it took for him to get to the crime scene, as well as the issue around that statement itself. Were you coerced into making that statement? And he said, no, I made that statement willingly. And I had an opportunity just post his, testimony after court had adjourned. We had an opportunity to ask him about how he feels about his testimony. And basically what he says is that he's glad that he's done. You'll remember he's also recovering from surgery, but he says he's glad that he's done. And I specifically asked him the question, if you were to go back and change anything about that day, what is it that you would change? And he says, well, at this moment, he can't even think, but he could change a lot. So quite a number of quotables there from the interviews that he conducted with the media just post that particular, testimony in court. But now you speak about this issue around the new witness and what that will look like, given, of course, the kind of testimony that, he has given. It would be interesting, really, to hear from some of the police officers who arrived first at the scene, because he was the first forensic officer to arrive at the scene. He found other police officers at the scene. Oli?
And do we know who the new witness is, Linda?
Well, that wasn't revealed yesterday. We're just still wondering who this new witness is. But it basically also speaks to the prosecutorial strategy that the state wants to implement here. You'll remember that they are leading evidence, and the onus really is on them to prove that the 5 men who are before this court are indeed the ones that murdered Senzo Meyiwa. And looking at that particular testimony, it would also have to relook and rethink how it then proceeds to try and, of course, link the two. It's interesting that he was also asked about, the bullet itself, and whether or not the bullet that was found in the house, linked, is the one that links the accused to this murder. And he says it's not his job. He wouldn't really know. So we're expecting a number of witnesses, including ballistics, to really tell us about the gun and, of course, the bullet that is said to have struck Senzo Meyiwa, killing him. So a lot of expectations this morning, but I think interestingly will be what the strategy of the state will be.
Mnisi, thank you very much for that update live for us at the Pretoria High Court. All right, let's turn